and just even question the ways that you've been doing things and seeing if it's really just a tradition. Like the first book that I think of is The Word of God versus the Traditions of Man. It was a book that I read in my Bible class, and we talked about like all the different parts of the Bible and how is it really with the word, was it really with tradition? We was comparing it to what we were doing in the church. So if I was to compare that to basically the question you just asked, how do you think differently? You gotta question, like, is this a tradition or is this something you really supposed to be doing?
Ooh, that's real. That's deep, because when you talk tradition, so there was a lot of things that I was looking. So you know me, I'm always listening to a new audio joint, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's like podcasts or books. And they talked about how that like people had to get out of the 9-to-5 philosophy and go entrepreneur. But now you've got people, entrepreneur is the big term for millionaires. And but the trend's going to come back where people are looking for the quality 9-to-5, because everybody's not about that life. And, you know, one thing that I really respect about you, Sean, is you a teacher and you rock that.
Yeah, I love it, man.
Like, you take ownership of that. Like, you even got me thinking, bro. Like, I'm like, after I get back from this deployment, somebody was telling me that, like, in order to be a sub, you just had to have a bachelor's degree.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think now at this point, because we talking about like the switch up of the mindset, you know what I'm saying? Like thinking differently. I'm thinking I can podcast, pick up some shifts, you know what I'm saying, in different realms and pad my resume and my stats and find what I really like, right? Like that's a total game changer, because I heard cats in some areas, they get paid like $250 to $300 a day just to sub, to fill in.
Yeah.
And that's really powerful, because now you're talking about completely changing the game. Completely changing the game. I think we talked about this the other night about you becoming a tutor or doing some like tutoring, like side stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like to make big money. But at the same time, he's like, you know what? I'm gonna do my thing. But it's beautiful. And I think the listeners that tune in, like, they gotta understand you can stay in your lane and be great, but you gotta be willing to accept that. But you can be creative, right? You can think differently in that lane. Sean, with the Dave Ramsey boy, you know what I'm saying? Like, you picked up the book. You're like, man, I'm gonna start going through this, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you're not just drawn and strapped to the book. Because I had a conversation financially with a buddy, and he was just like, you know, Dave Ramsey was good for you in the beginning, but you can't keep strapping your mental to that book. You know what I'm saying? And I gotta get out and flourish and think about things going forward. Because I'm like, if I want to own a bunch of, and this is just something that I was spitballing, own a bunch of semi trucks, because they can make $5 to $7 grand a week. Sean, if I get 10 of those, we talking big money.
Yeah, that's true.
But the other part of that is looking at it from a long standpoint. And I think that's why, you know, like when they talk about the millionaires, they had like long-term thinking. It was that process, right? And that process takes you to the, but I think that's interesting. So for the listeners that may, you know, they're going to tune into your episode and go check it out, I highly recommend, by the time this airs, Sean's episode is going to be on the Hungry Millennial Network YouTube channel. And his story is extremely powerful because of the fact that, like, your parents really didn't believe that you was going to pay off that debt.
No,
they didn't believe you was going. They didn't believe you was going to even kill it in college like that. And nothing to the parents, right? Like, at the same time, like, and I like Gary Vee, right? And he's like, it's going to sound kind of vulgar, but F your parents. And like, he doesn't mean it in a facetious way, but like, there are going to be naysayers out there that like try to, you know what I'm saying, swat down what you're doing, and you got to stay in your own lane.